Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Appreciate you again yielding to my time. I want to start with you, Ms. Rapinoe. First, I just want to say that we're super proud of U.S. women's soccer. Being on the world stage as you and your teammates have been for a number of years. It is exciting. And of course, we don't often see parity in women's sports with men's sports. And that could be, as you said, in terms of event attendance or popularity. You've made women's sports very popular. And so that's something that every American should be proud of. So I appreciate you being with us today and speaking on this important issue. But I only have 5 minutes. And so if you could just give me quick yes or no answers, I'd appreciate it. I want to make sure I can get through all of my questions. I have questions for 2 folks who've given testimony today. So my first question is, does the U.S. women's soccer team have union representation?
We do, yes.
Okay, and that union representation was present during the collective bargaining settlement back in 2017, is that correct?
Yes.
Right, and at the time the agreement was signed, you said, I think the Women's National Team Players Association should be very proud of this deal. Yet you and your teammates continued to pursue a federal wage discrimination complaint. In the recent decision on the matter, the court found the USSF, the U.S. Soccer Federation, did not commit wage discrimination because it actually paid the women's team more than the men's team on both a cumulative and per game basis. In fact, the court found the women's team earned about $220,000 per game, while the men's team earned approximately $213,000 per game. Yet you and your teammates argue that because you all earn smaller bonuses for the World Cup related matches and other tournaments than the men, there's a gender wage discrimination. Compensation is not simply wage, though. The 2017 agreement guaranteed pay for women, regardless of whether they played or not, a perk the men's agreement does not have. Is it fair to say being paid regardless of whether you played was important to the women's team and to the agreement in 2017?
I mean, I think that's very much an oversimplification of the 2 contracts. I think, to be clear, the comments that I made then, I thought us as players should be proud of the deal for what we were able to achieve, considering the discrimination that we were up against. We asked very clearly for the exact same contract and the same amount pot of money as the men received, and we were simply laughed out of the room, to be honest. So I think it's much of an oversimplification what you're suggesting. And there's many disparities within the men's and the women's team, and the overall pot of money is far larger. The overall available pot of money or possibility of the pot of money is much larger for the men's team. We earned close to them because we're capturing nearly all of the pot of money available to us, whereas the men's team is not.
I have like 2 more minutes left. Your union that represented you all did such a bang up job. They did so well. You had to sue later because the deal was so bad. It sounds like
we had to sue later because of gender discrimination.
The collective bargaining agreement expires this year. Do you anticipate being able to advocate for changes to better reflect your needs?
We're always advocating for better changes, of course. Obviously, we have an outstanding lawsuit, which will affect the collective bargaining agreement. But yes, we're very much looking for a more fair deal, something that we did not get last time.
Thank you. And now I'd like to ask a few questions of Ms. Onwuka. I appreciate your comments earlier about how it is illegal, that sex discrimination is illegal under federal law, and that one size does not fit all. As someone who's broken many barriers all her life, I do understand sometimes that as a woman, you have to work twice as hard to be seen as an equal. So I appreciate your comments earlier today. But Ms. Onwuka, I want to ask whether you believe it's important for women to be able to negotiate their own work contracts.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Absolutely. I think we've seen in some of these studies that women tend not to negotiate, particularly they're not trained at a younger age to understand both what they're able to ask for, but also what some of the choices that they make in terms of career track is how it's going to impact their overall earnings. So when they're going into the negotiation table, being able to have that kind of information is really what empowers them. And so absolutely women need to be empowering and to overcome wage gaps. I think we need to ensure women know what they want and can value their time and their efforts effectively.
I agree. Women with the freedom to make their own choices, the confidence and the courage to be able to ask for those choices too. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentlewoman from the District of Columbia, Congresswoman Norton, is now recognized. Congresswoman Norton.